I'm Eddie Holcomb with Washington County Farm Bureau Insurance.
I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County.
I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau.
I'm Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
Y'all have heard me talk about Murray West and MurrayWest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. When I say they do quality stuff, they really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, MurrayWest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the Prairie Wildlife, Ole Miss Athletics, Gentile, others that they work with. Can't recommend them enough. If you need your logo printed, embroidered, sewn on to anything, custom apparel and other stuff, make sure you go there. Murray West, you can find them online. MurrayWest.com. That's MURRY West.com.
I had this opportunity come up to a friend of mine that was an agent here at Farm Bureau that, he said this may be something I like to do because he knew I was involved in the community. And what we do, we're supporting the community. We're doing stuff to protect the members of our community. I've been here almost a decade. And what we do, we help people every day through the products we sell. We make recommendations to them, stuff to protect their assets, protect their lives, their families, and we're local. We're local people. Everybody that works in this office has grown up here, lived here, played ball in this community. I've coached in this community, been on the park boards, the sports league boards, the booster club boards. The community is what's important here in Farm Bureau. We push the local community. We're a Mississippi company. That's a Washington School team ball from 2019. Greg Wallace was the head coach then, and him and I were really good friends. I've been in Greenville my whole entire life. My family's been here. This is home. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here to support the people of Washington County, protect them. I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County. We are the home team.
I think you know what time it is. It's time to eat. Country pleasing, jalapeno and cheddar, green onion. And no, it's not a grill, see that? But the fire is just about burnt down enough where it's time to put some of this on there. And the only decision when it comes to country pleasing sausage is which flavor, jalapeno and cheddar or maybe green onion. Both.
Break me off a piece of that.
Look at that. You know what that is? That's real green onion. Like that monkey who set his tail on a railroad track. It won't be long now. Sorry about that. Got you, Sven. I think I got it added to it. We were missing it earlier. Sorry about that. I saw something a little bit ago where someone suggested and said, hey, you're never really going to get past this whole, consternation about how you do the playoff and who gets in and who doesn't and all that kind of stuff until everybody's got like schedules. Like every conference, 9 conference games, 2 Power 4 non-conferences, and 1 cupcake and all that kind of stuff. I'm the more even, the less variables, the better for me. But still, nobody's ever really going to be happy with it. And that's kind of what Lane Kiffin said about it yesterday. He said every model they put up there has got some sort of flaw. So it's just the way it is. All right. Tell you what, let's jump into some headlines here today. Still early in the show. So we'll get some hour 1 headlines going and see where we go from there.
Good evening. I'm Ron Burgundy, and this is what's happening in your world.
Good evening and welcome to Eyewitness News.
Here's what's making news.
Headlines on the show brought to you by the Mortgage Man Group, powered by Luminate Bank right here in Mississippi. Find them online at mortgagemanms.com. Anything mortgage related, buying, refinancing, whatever that is. That's where you want to go. Mortgagemanms.com. Tell Went I said hello. Republican U.S. Senator Tommy Tuberville, who got into politics after a successful career as a head football coach at Auburn and Ole Miss and other places, announced yesterday that he is running for governor of Alabama next year. The quote was, "Today I will announce that I'll be the future governor of the great state of Alabama." He ain't even considering losing. What do you think about that? When's the last time that a former Ole Miss head coach became the governor of any state? It could be a first. Anyhow, I just thought I'd pass that along. All right, speaking of Sankey, I think it was Sven who said Sankey's trying to ruin college football. Story, Destin, Florida, SEC spring meetings. I'm only going to give you the headlines of this. I'm moving on to something else. Because here it is. Anyway, let me just tell you about it. In a significant pivot for the highly publicized push for automatic qualifiers in the next iteration of the college football playoff, the SEC yesterday took a heightened interest in a 16-team model that would include the 5 highest-ranked conference champs and 11 at-large bids. Greg Sankey said he talked about that at length with SEC football coaches. They're calling it a 5+11 model. There. It's in the headlines. I've not ignored it. It's been covered. Past that, I can't take it anymore. I cannot take it anymore. One more thing, though. But different. We'll go back to Destin, Florida, SEC spring meetings. All our coaches and ADs and commissioner at SEC spring meetings, talking season down there farting around on the beach. The major theme lingering over the SEC's annual meetings this week is an air of uncertainty clouding the future of the sport. Good Lord. Georgia football coach Kirby Smart made it clear, however, that there is one issue of paramount importance to SEC football coaches. Here is Kirby Smart's quote. "The biggest decision that has to be made across football right now, to me, by far, is when is the portal window, and is there one or two?" Now, all right, listen, Give me 2 minutes, y'all. Give me 2 minutes. Give me 2 steps. Give me 2 steps, mister. Give me 2 minutes towards the door. Y'all, let me just throw some stuff at you first of all. Okay, first up, of all the things, with everything going on, okay, consider everything going on with college sports and college football in particular. Yeah, you got an issue with transfer portal. Yeah. Okay, call it the playoff. Whatever. How many teams? Who? What? Okay, all the pay for play. Straight up, pay for play. Unhinged, no holds barred. Pay for play, no rules. No contracts, because a contract means they're an employee. We can't be hiring these folks as employees and still go to the IRS and call ourselves a 501c3, among many other things. Yet, I'm supposed to believe that quote from Kirby Smart, the biggest decision that has to be made across football right now is by far, when is the portal window and is there one or two? You really expect me to believe that that's the biggest issue you have to deal with? Folks, if you ever needed another indication that the leaders in college football don't really want to fix anything, they don't really want to fix anything. When you really boil it right down to it, the leaders in college football are just fine with everything the way it is, as long as the deposit hits the bank on the 1st and the 15th. And Blind Squirrel Sports on YouTube. Listen, I know you're a Georgia fan, but you nailed it. Said it sounds like Matt's telling Kirby Smart to stop crying from the yacht. I know that's his quote. Listen, think about it, Blind Squirrel. You're an everyday working American just like me, trying to make ends meet, just like the rest of us. Do you really believe the biggest thing they have to figure out is when is the portal window and is there one or two? Really? Who in their right mind could say that out loud and expect anybody to be dumb enough to believe it? You've got to be kidding me. And then the second point I would make, look at your mushy-headed, stupid media. Look at the way they're covering these SEC spring meetings. Did you hear that first sentence I read you of this story written by somebody at the acronym? The major theme lingering over the SEC's annual meetings this week is an era of uncertainty clouding the future of the sport. Are you serious? It's the era of uncertainty that's clouding the future of the sport? I tell you, man, I don't have any hope in any of them. None of them. Run tell. Back after this.
Do you really need to study game film?
I'm 𝐌𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐢 with Washington County Farm Bureau Insurance.
I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County.
I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau.
I am Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
I think you know what time it is. It's time to eat. Country pleasing, jalapeno and cheddar, green onion. And no, it's not a grill, see that? But the fire is just about burnt down enough where it's time to put some of this on there. And the only decision when it comes to country pleasing sausage is which flavor, jalapeno and cheddar or maybe green onion. Both. Break me off a piece of that. Look at that. You know what that is? That's real green onion. Like that monkey who set his tail on a railroad track. It won't be long now. Country Pleasing sausage, these flavors, and many, many others. Get them online at countrypleasing.com, at a grocery store near you, pretty much anywhere in the Southeast. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please. They'll know what you're talking about.
Grew up on a family farm out past Leland, just born and raised here in the Mississippi Delta. Never really thought about moving out. You know, it's where my roots are. Our family's a big sports family. It was 4 boys and 1 girl, and all 4 of us boys went and played ball at Delta Community College. My dad, he's always been honestly a role model of mine. He's farmed his whole life. We attend St. James Catholic Church in Leland, where we went to church my whole life, and then now continuing my family, me and my wife and my 3 kids. Being a Christian is everything for me and my family. Being born and raised here in this area, there's just something about this area. I mean, when you pull into it, you don't see a whole lot, but being born and raised here and the farm families and just the people that grew up here, the people that you see here, you see in the grocery store, you go to church with, small town community, you're gonna run into people that you know. It puts a smile on your face knowing that you know the people in your area, in your community. Get to know them as friends and now bring them in to my office here and creating that relationship, extending it on, getting them as insureds, as customers of mine, who I call friend. I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau, and we are the home team.
Y'all have heard me talk about Murray West and murraywest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. When I say they do quality stuff, they really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, murraywest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the prairie wildlife, Ole Miss.
And then worldwide at the Zone 1059.com.
Back with you, I'm Matt, in the Bureau, the Mississippi Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. I've got some texts to get to and some comments on the live stream. Sven on YouTube said, let me get this straight. If Matt Wyatt was a quarterback in 98, don't get his classes done, Coach Sherrill would chop his head off, literally. Nowadays, 10% of all SEC players are going to school. I mean, yeah, listen, Sven, 10%. Think about that. I don't think you're all that far off. You got a whole bunch of athletes in college that really aren't even going to school, and everybody kind of knows it. And then Sven said, and nobody, including Sankey, cares about education. Sankey cares about is making the 3 to 4 billionaires richer who's making money off college football. Well, I think if you were to really get down to the nitty gritty on it, it's my impression that like it's a hard job. What Sankey is tasked with doing in this era, I mean, it's not an easy job. But I think his bosses, you would say that his bosses, who he answers to, that is the schools and their presidents. That's the way I see it, right? And then I guess by association too, there are big alumni groups that are at each school that are the decision makers effectively because of their influence and what they give in supporting the schools. And so he kind of works for them. And yeah, no, there's not an education component anymore. And there is this. Well, let me say it this way, Sven. You know what I think, if you back up and look at everything, you know why there's so much anxiety? This is not, if you look, like this week, Greg Sankey, he got mad, right? And he's starting to get a little sensitive and got a short fuse, and conferences putting out statements, and he doesn't like it. There's a lot of angst everywhere you go with people trying to position and hold on to the power they have, and not only hold on to the money they're making, but to expand upon, everybody's trying, and there's so much anxiety along with it. It's no longer fun sports, an extension of these institutions of higher learning. Nobody's looking at it that way anymore. There's so much anxiety and angst. And so I think, to me, that's an indication. That level of anxiety in people in places like that is an indication to me that they know the real issue is trying to move ahead with college sports without having to sign them to contracts, which a court then tells you you're an employee one way or the other. And now everybody's got a major problem on their hands. It's trying to get all this done while still fooling everybody into believing that these players who are being paid millions of dollars shouldn't sign a contract, a binding contractual agreement for them, because you have the demand and they have the supply. They don't want that. And the angst and the anxiety is coming from trying to get all this stuff done without having any contractual agreement, even though all this money is exchanging hands. And that's one of the reasons they keep calling it NIL and won't call it what it is. You know, and I know what it is, but they won't call it what it is. You start calling it pay for play, all it takes is one judge to say, well, you said this, and guess what that means? It's all a little game that's being played, a little game of hide and seek. And it's all a game of deception. I hate to say it. The whole thing, it's a game of deception. And that's why they're actually sweating. I mean, imagine having a job where you simply cannot afford to tell the all-out truth. That'd be stressful, wouldn't it? All right, Jared texted the show. He got the same misinformation from AI. State was not a 3 seed in 2018. They were a 2 seed. Hat tip Beaver. Did the research, got it right. Clay says, the more I read, yeah, they were a 2 seed in that regional. Nick texted the show. Said State has not advanced as a 3 seed. 2018, they were a 2. But they're trying to do something they've never done before. Advance to the College World Series as a 3 seed. J-Rock texts the show and says, there's not any difference in being a 2 and a 3 seed. You're going to play each other either way. Yeah, there is no way getting around it, that's for sure. What did the RT say? RT said, says, I don't like Dabo, but Kirby is running outlaw program even with pay for play. He said, I can see Kirby at church texting players during the sermon. It's funny to think about, though, isn't it? Like, he'd make a funny movie. Hunter texted the show, Matt, what is the strangest fish you've ever caught? For me, it was a freshwater drum. That thing was big and ugly. We had to take it to the shore in order to retrieve it. Yeah, I've caught some freshwater drum before, like smallmouth fishing at Pickwick. Thought I'd finally hooked into a big smallmouth. This big old drum. But there's a, what do they call it? They call it a snakehead, whatever that thing is. I caught one of those one time, bass fish. I think they call it a snakehead. Weird old, odd, scary looking thing. It's a fish, but it don't look like a fish. It's been a while. I think that's what it was called. Look at here. Real C has texted us, has graced us with his presence on the country pleasing text line and said, good afternoon, Matt Wyatt. I have temporarily pushed my butter pecan to the side for a brief time, and this is why. He says, Bluebell, not as good as MSU, has special offerings from time to time, and one of the current specials is Groom's Cake ice cream. And he says they also offer a bride's cake now. It's chocolate cake, and chocolate-covered strawberry pieces in ice cream. Come on now. That sounds great. He said, Matt, oh my, it's so good. He said, I've stepped out of the butter pecan zone because of you and owe you a thanks. I will return. Let's say at some point he's going to return. He says, but indeed he did broaden his mind. Listen though, that's a no-brainer though right there. Groom's Cake ice cream. It's chocolate cake, and chocolate-covered strawberries in there. Yeah, bring that on immediately. All right, Jason. Okay, Jason, we can. Jason in Flagstaff says, can we go back to talking about fishing? This never-ending NCAA soap opera stuff sucks. No offense. I could not agree more. Jason, no offense taken. In fact, I agree with you totally. It's almost like I get a little riled up about it. But I found myself, when I read that earlier, I go, like the thing on the 5+11 playoff model. I mean, I'm going, I cannot make myself care about that. Who cares anymore? Just pick a model and shut up about it. Please throw something interesting at me from a college football standpoint other than bunch of guys, meetings, the beach. Blech. Let's talk fishing. Louvier, my man, though, he texts the show. So what you're saying is that there's a whole lot of money involved and lawyers are involved and the actual rules are not very clear? He said, that's why a lot of guys go to law school, just saying. Well, that's what I'm saying, too. That's what I'm saying, too, Louvier. That's prime territory for somebody that doesn't know actually how to do anything with their hands. Run, tell them I said it. Yeah, grinnell. RT, that might have been what it was. Grinnell fish. Is that the same thing? Snakehead and grinnell? Hey, I heard about a guy one time who caught one of those freshwater eels, and he made the mistake of bringing it up onto the deck of his carpeted bass boat and let it flop around on the boat. And he said the slime from that freshwater eel got in the carpet of his boat, and he never got it out. Nothing would get rid of it. That was a story that I heard. Sorry to gross you out, but that'd be a weird thing. All right, listen, hour 2 coming up. We'll hear what Coach Mike Bianco said about Ole Miss getting to host this weekend. Georgia Tech and others coming to town. And plus, it's a national day that is going to be near and dear to your heart, I promise you. Hour 2 coming up, back after this.
I'm Eddie Holcomb with Washington County Farm Bureau Insurance.
I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County.
I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau.
I am Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
I think you know what time it is. It's time to eat. Country pleasing, jalapeno and cheddar, green onion. And no, it's not a grill, see that? But the fire is just about burnt down enough where it's time to put some of this on there. And the only decision when it comes to country pleasing sausage is which flavor, jalapeno and cheddar or maybe green onion. Both. Break me off a piece of that. Look at that. You know what that is? That's real green onion. Like that monkey who set his tail on a railroad track. It won't be long now. Country pleasing sausage, these flavors, and many, many others. Get them online at countrypleasing.com. At a grocery store near you, pretty much anywhere in the Southeast. Walk up in there and say, "Country pleasing, please." They'll know what you're talking about.
Grew up on a family farm out past Leland, just born and raised here in the Mississippi Delta. Never really thought about moving out. You know, it's where my roots are. Our family's a big sports family. It was 4 boys and 1 girl, and all 4 of us boys went and played ball at Delta Community College. My dad, he's always been honestly a role model of mine. He's farmed his whole life. We attend St. James Catholic Church in Leland, where we went to church my whole life, and then now continuing my family, me and my wife and my 3 kids. Being a Christian is everything for me and my family. Being born and raised here in this area, there's just something about this area. I mean, when you pull into it, you don't see a whole lot, but being born and raised here and the farm families and just the people that grew up here, the people that you see here, you see in the grocery store, you go to church with, small town community, you're gonna run into people that you know. It puts a smile on your face knowing that you know the people in your area, in your community. Get to know them as friends and now bring them in to my office here and creating that relationship, extending it on, getting them as insureds, as customers of mine, who I call friend. I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau, and we are the home team.
Y'all have heard me talk about Murray West and murraywest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. When I say they do quality stuff, they really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, murraywest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the Prairie Wildlife, Ole Miss Athletics, Gentile, others that they work with. Can't recommend them enough. If you need your logo printed, embroidered, sewn on to anything, custom apparel and other stuff, make sure you go there. Murray West, you can find them online. murraywest.com. That's MURRY West.com.
And energy.
Try ZipIntro for free right now at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipIntro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow. Once again, go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
There are many times I thought, I can't do this. I mean, what parent isn't worried about, what am I not doing right? What am I not doing enough? And then I realized, wait, that's being a parent.
Don't worry about being perfect. I've had around 3 other mother figures in my life, but only one of them has taught me how a mother loves.
The greatest reward for me is he makes me better every day.
I would tell a family considering adopting a teenager that teenager, whoever it is, needs you, and they need what you have to offer.
Taylor's given me hope. He's our son, and that is what he will always be.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
WRKS Pickens Jackson.
We are good to go.
With more of the Matt Wyatt Show. Coming to you direct and live at the Zone 105.9 and worldwide.
Now, here we go.
At the Zone1059.com.
Back with you. Hour number 2 of the show off and running on this Wednesday for baseball teams that are traveling to regionals this weekend. So all the 2, 3, and 4 seeds, today is travel day. They're going down there today, wherever they're going, flying, bussing. Get there, get settled in, get acclimated, meetings tonight, maybe workout, whatever, dinner. Wake up in the morning, they'll have a practice wherever they're going to play. Tomorrow they'll have a practice time and all their workout stuff then, and then play on Fridays. Today's travel day. We're getting closer and closer to the weekend. College baseball regionals. This is going to be a fun deal. Let's see, there's always surprises. What makes it fun? There's always a few surprises. Surprise me. Get on in here. Let's see what you want to talk about here on this Wednesday. You can comment on the live stream if you're over there on Facebook or YouTube or X, formerly Twitter. Just drop a comment in there. I'll be able to see it. Pop it up on the screen. We'll go from there. You can text me on the Country Pleasing text line. That number is 885-3776. 601 number, 885-3776. And you can also call me on the Davini phone. 897-1059. That's 601 number, 897-1059. Let me hear you. Let's see. Jared texted the show. He said the regionals were changed from 6 teams to 4 teams in 99. But the year before, 98, in the College Station Regional, Mississippi State was the 4 seed and went on to Omaha and lost to Gorilla Ball LSU and eventual champion USC. Yeah. The 98 team. So they went in, so State went in 97 and 98 to the College World Series, back-to-back years. That was awesome. That was a fun time, man. Those Brad Freeman, Adam Pyatt, Richard Lee, Eric DuBose teams. Yes, sir. That was fun. Man, again, you're not supposed to look back. Well, I listen to a lot of Gregory Alan Isikoff music. He's got a million, awesome, great songs and thought-provoking lyrics. And there's this one song where he just keeps on repeating the words, "Quit all that looking back." Sometimes I feel like he's talking right to me. Quit all that looking back. But let me just say, I was talking about this recently with somebody, that our age group, the guys in my class and the one before, the one after, our age group that we went to State there mid to late 90s, you think about what we experienced. It's just there's never been a time before or since that was like it. When, I went to school, my first year at school, first fall was fall of 95. And I'm redshirting, right? We're all, freshmen in the dorms. We're on a football team, but fall of 95. So think about immediately our first spring semester, spring of 96, our basketball team goes to the Final Four. The next year, You know, our baseball program, 97 and 98, back-to-back College World Series. Football, 98, Western Division champs, played in the championship game, played in the Cotton Bowl. The next year, 99, win 10 games, win the Peach Bowl, beat Clemson in the Peach Bowl. I mean, it was just a time when all this stuff's happening at once. What an unbelievable time it was to be in school there. Never a time like it. All those things combined. We thought, man, this is great. This is the way it is. No, that's not quite the way it is. That's actually a rarity. Let's see here. Bill in Madison. Let me see what Bill says. By the way, that was a sip of hot coffee. That's got me settled down, Bill. This hot coffee from High Point Roasters in New Albany, Mississippi. Go to highpointroasters.com. Get your coffee right there. It comes in great big 1 pound bags. You're not going to run out anytime soon. Single origin from all over the world and blends that they've designed that are awesome. I'm in on some breakfast blend right now. Hot coffee. Bill says on the Country Pleasing text line, he says, I do not know why anybody is arguing that a 501c3 nonprofit corporation cannot have employees and keep it nonprofit status. Okay, and I'm going to come back to that first sentence. I don't think anybody is arguing that, Bill. He says churches have employees. The problem is greed again. If these kids become employees, they have rights like other employees, like Family Leave Act, perhaps retirement accounts, and all kinds of things that coaches don't want to deal with. Bill said it's all about greed and there's no way around it. Frankly, if these kids had contracts, they still might be considered employees based on the IRS test for what constitutes an employee, what constitutes a contract worker. See, I think you're in on it, but what you're touching on, Bill, is, again, I am not anywhere even close to, an expert on this. But when you kind of look it up and you start reading about universities as 501c3s, I mean, think about, for example, the University of Georgia. Think about Georgia and think about Georgia's football program. The University of Georgia football program. And the fact that the University of Georgia is a 501c3. And it's like, yeah, you can have as many employees and as much expenditure and therefore, expenses and revenue and profits is, you can have as much you want and be 501c3. But technically what it is, right, is if all of that is spent towards your originally stated purpose. Now, there's some flowery language there that goes with that, but that's basically what it is. Like, here's our purpose, okay, and these employees and this job and this branch over here and this arm of our company, it's all working towards our originally stated purpose, which falls under this 501c3 stuff. See what I'm saying? Well, the problem on the university side, Bill, and I'm going to jump off of this because I'm sure it's boring, but I'm just thinking out loud. The problem for a university is, what is your purpose? What is your original purpose? I mean, is it education? Okay. Well, and maybe some extracurricular stuff is a part of that. Is it to make $1 billion with your football program? What is your purpose? How do you cross all those streams and pass it off? And then here's the other thing, Bill. What if somebody decides to sue you over it? See what I mean? That's another thing. That's a whole different can of worms right there. Yeah, it's like, what position are you in to argue on your behalf if somebody decides to take you to court over it? Well, now we're all playing a big CYA game. Everybody's covering their rear end. So I think you're nailing it. You said, I don't know why anybody is arguing that a 501c3 nonprofit corporation cannot have employees and keep it a nonprofit status. See, and I don't think they are, because they absolutely can have all kinds of employees and all kinds of expenses and pay them all kinds of stuff. But if somebody challenges it, you better be able to prove that, well, the reason is because it's part of our original purpose and why they gave us 501c3 status to begin with. Well, that could get dicey, as I see it. All right. I'm sure right now Jason is ready to pull the Q-tips out of his ears and talk about something else. And probably so is everybody else for that matter. All right, so baseball. Regionals popping up. We got 16 of those. Ole Miss, really strong finish to the year. And so they're going to get to host this weekend in Oxford. Big weekend up there, in fact. And, you know, they lost that series to State, and then after that just caught fire. Had the series win at home over a top 5 Auburn team who's one of the top 4 national seeds. Of course, the long run and the wins there in Hoover, making it to the championship against Vandy, who was the number 1 national seed. You lose that game by 1 run. I mean, so it's a really strong finish to the year. And so they're in the position they're in because of that. But they also, you know, maybe they didn't have as tough a schedule as some of the others early in the year, but they played well against it. So he's sitting there with, 19, 20 wins this year against SEC teams. I mean, it's really, really strong. Here's Mike Bianco, short Q&A with a few of their reporters there that cover their baseball team. He starts off with kind of what it means to get this host spot going into this weekend for the program.
You know, it's kind of heard what the other guy said, and it's right on the wall outside. It's one of our goals. It's not just to make it to a regional, but to host it. You know, to be one of the final 16. You know, when the season ends, it's a great reward. You know, for the players, it's a great reward for the our great fans, and you know, it's special. You know, to play at home in postseason. So it's good to be back here, and I know the guys are excited to continue at Swayze.
The chairman said that you guys were one of the teams that got strong consideration for like that 8th spot. Did you kind of end up where you sort of thought you'd end up this morning? We thought probably, or at least I thought probably like a lot of people, that, you know, if we won the championship, it was a great, few weeks, finish and beat a lot of, teams that, were going to be a national seed. And so we knew we were probably on the bubble, for that. You just don't know. You don't know until you hear your name on Sunday night. And so, kind of the mantra, as you've heard us say, is, be where your feet are. Let's just take care of business. And so you try to not, get too far ahead of yourself. And again, it's those are one of the things that's out of our control. But certainly, thought we'd be in the running. But at the end of the day, you got to win games. And so you got to win games this weekend. You got to win games. If you do that, you get to try to win some more games next weekend, regardless of where it is.
Looks like the SEC teams are going about half and half on playing early versus late. Have you ever given a ton of consideration for flipping to the early game?
Not much, and I don't know where all of a sudden that happened, but it's been a while now. I always felt that that's a disappointing thing for your fans, to play, and usually it's really hot here, like a lot of our counterparts, and I don't know if I necessarily want to, be playing at 1 or 2 o'clock if I don't have to. We're used to playing on Friday night. Our fans are used to being here on Friday night, and that's kind of the reward. And so I think when you do that, I get it, that if you lose, you got to turn around and play again, but you're supposed to win, so I think the pluses outweigh the minuses. We've always thought it's the right thing to do for our team and for the fans, and to have that atmosphere Friday night at Swayze Field.
You mentioned, I think you said yesterday, even that older teams have success, and y'all are an older team. That was kind of the goal, in roster building. What is it about this group of older guys that has just kind of meshed so well throughout the season?
Well, some of the guys you spoke to, obviously, here with
Riley and Will and Luke, but throughout the team, you start to. We thought it was a big, whatever you want to call it, coup, or a get, when we knew we were going to get Elliott, Maddox, and Nichols back, three guys that played on the national championship team that probably at this time last year didn't think we'd get them back, along with Connor Spencer. And so when you get three weekend starters back, and a closer, and guys that have all had success in this league, I think that's a great start. But then when you go into the portal, and we did go old. We wanted to get some older guys from Power 5 schools that have had success at this level. And when you look up and you see Mormon and Humphrey and Sanford, Foley. We thought that was a great mix, and you never know. You're right until you put them all in one locker room. But culture's usually never been our problem, and the guys have really bought into it, and obviously, have played really well.
It's just a Tuesday, but what do you remember about Murray? They seemed like they could swing it, best I recall.
Yeah, and I had to look up. I knew we played them, but it was like. But it was a long time ago. I think it was March 5th. So, it was a couple months ago, and it was an extra inning game. So don't remember. But, what you do look, and I'm sure you're going to see all the interviews today of the people talking about the regional. But, pretty difficult, one right off the bat, number 4 seed that, won 38 games. And, all these teams statistically do everything well. You try to go, hey, what's going to be, the Achilles, and they've all had great years. And so I don't know if there's a 4 seed that has that many wins. I'm sure there's not a 3 seed that has as many wins as Western Kentucky with 46. I don't know how many teams in the country have 46 wins, let alone a 3 seed. And then, of course, the ACC champ. So it's quite a field, coming to Oxford.
Coach, I believe Ray, it's your 11th time hosting a regional here. Is this?
Not sure, but I'm going to take your word for it.
Okay.
Is that right?
Yeah.
11.
Hey, sir. Is this one any more special than any of the other ones that you've gotten to host, or how is this one different than, as far as, just teams go?
I'm always really careful of those types of questions. I don't know. I've always felt, I've done this a long time, so I've always felt that every team's different. You're at the same place for 25 years, and people say, well, how's that feel? But when you're dealing with 18 and 22-year-old kids, and there's a lot of turnover. Every team feels different, and even when you return a lot of players, it feels different because kids change a lot from the time they're 18 years old and freshmen. I mean, Hunter Elliott's a lot different right now. Riley Maddox is a lot different than he was 4 years ago. I'm not sure Mason Nichols is much different, but they change a lot as they grow up. So this is I'm proud of the guys. I'm proud. That we had this kind of year, really consistent year, and we finished well, and felt they were deserving of this, and so I'm excited for their opportunity.
Do you feel like the SEC got the credit that it did earn throughout the year, just from the?
Yeah, I think so.
Kentucky not even being one of the last 4.
Yeah, and didn't know how that was going to go when you heard and I'll be honest with you, when you heard the 8 host sites, I got worried. For them, because sometimes it feels like, man, if we're going to get 8, does that eliminate somebody else, as an at-large bid? But, they're certainly deserving, an RPI in the 30s and the number 1 conference in the country, and got some big weekend wins. And so, and we, at the beginning of the year, nobody knew how this was all going to fall out, right? With 16 teams, what does that look like? And I've always said that you
All right, so that's a little bit with Mike Bianco talking to local media. And how about the question? They said, is this one any more special than some of the others as far as those 11 or 12, whatever it was, postseason host opportunities? He said, I'm always careful kind of how I answer that. And I thought Mike was going to say, no, it's not any more special than those others. Because, you think about it, each year is sort of in a vacuum, and those teams and times that they've hosted, every time it's like, everybody does a fist pump and you get to plan, your fan base gets to plan around it. The other thing too, yeah, great answer, but it just makes total sense. And I can't quite figure out those schools who do the other thing as well as flipping over to the early game. I mean, you heard what Bianco said. You know, you're hosting, okay, you're going to play on the Friday night and you stay in that night slot because it's like a reward for your fan base also. Okay, yeah, it can be hot and, you know, you can go out there and play at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That might be something else you don't want to do, and especially if you're going to throw your ace in that first game, or even if you're not. But I'm like, you know, you're hosting, and a lot of this is about, especially at a place like Ole Miss, is the same thing at a place like State or LSU, Arkansas, that have these big stadiums at home where you're putting 10,000 people in there, or, well, more than that for these postseason opportunities like this, is why would you choose to play the early one? You know, like I think Florida State's doing that. Why would they do that? I don't know what kind of fan support they have at Florida State baseball. I don't know what kind of crowds. I have no idea. So maybe that's not a factor. But why would you? Can somebody explain to me why you would choose to play the first game as opposed to the night game? That's hard to figure out. But it's really easy to figure out at a place like Ole Miss where, you know, the night game, you got a chance to have record crowds, right? All right. Back over to the country pleasing text line. Hunter had asked me about weird fish I caught before, and I couldn't remember. It's so long ago, it's 20 years ago. And I was fishing at Lake Lamar Bruce outside of Tupelo up in South Tillow. And I'm thinking it's what I thought was referred to as a snakehead, but it might have been a grinnell. And then I was like, well, is that the same thing? Real C said he caught what's called a chain pickerel at a small state park lake in Mississippi, and he really thought it was odd. Nobody at the sign-in shack to ask about it when he left. Yeah, and Jason said the snakehead is different from the grinnell, which is bowfin. Snakeheads are invasive from Asia and nasty. I'm going to look them up. I'll be able to tell you because I can picture it. I think at the time I was telling everybody it was a snakehead, but I'm going to look it up and make sure that's what it was. All right, more of your texts, comments. Oh, and that National Day, I'm telling you, it's going to hit close to home. Stick around.
Do you really need to study game film in bed?
That's what they said.
Y'all heard me talk about Murray West and MurrayWest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. I say they do quality stuff. They really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff, I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, you know, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, MurrayWest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the Prairie Wildlife, Ole Miss Athletics, Gentile, others that they work with. Can't recommend them enough. If you need your logo printed, embroidered, sewn on to anything, custom apparel and other stuff, make sure you go there, Murray West. You can find them online. MurrayWest.com. That's MURRY West.com.
I'm Eddie Holcomb with Washington County Farm Bureau Insurance.
I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County.
I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau.
I'm Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
I think you know what time it is. It's time to eat. Country pleasing, jalapeno and cheddar, green onion. And no, it's not a grill, see that? But the fire is just about burnt down enough where it's time to put some of this on there. And the only decision when it comes to country pleasing sausage is which flavor, jalapeno and cheddar or maybe green onion. Both. Break me off a piece of that. Look at that. You know what that is? That's real green onion. Like that monkey who set his tail on a railroad track. It won't be long now. Country Pleasing sausage, these flavors, and many, many others. Get them online at countrypleasing.com. At a grocery store near you, pretty much anywhere in the Southeast. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please. They'll know what you're talking about.
I was born and raised in Greenville. I've always called Greenville home. This is where I, was raised, went to high school, graduated high school, worked all my life here leading up to going to college. So even when I moved from Greenville, I always told people, they asked me where you're from, I always said I'm from Greenville. I have mother, father, brother, niece, aunt, all live here in Greenville. So this is home. This is where I, live, and I've just always called it home. Small town, I feel like I could walk in any place tomorrow and know 2 to 3 people in there. It's small town. Someone's on the side of the road broken down. Hey, you need a boost, flat tire, you need help changing it. That's just kind of, what I love about this area.
That one is huge! To all the amazing plays, Matt Wyatt has got it all for you.
Just listen to that!
At the Zone 105.9 and coming to you worldwide at thezone1059.com.
All right. Back with you. I'm Matt. Rolling along on this Wednesday. Okay, Jason, it was a grinnell. I looked it up. That grinnell and the snakehead, they both have that fin, though, that goes all the way and almost meets the fin on the tail. But, snakehead does look more like a snake. Like it's a head. Spots. The grinnell, that's what it was. I called it grinnell. That was at Lake Lamar Bruce. This is 20-something years ago. Nasty looking thing. What are they good for? Anything? Nothing? All right. Hey, today is National Hamburger Day. National Hamburger Day. 2 things. 1, a question. What ingredients, it's not toppings. It's not toppings. What ingredients are, in your opinion, on the perfect hamburger? And then 2, here is Steve Martin as the Pink Panther in a funny scene that's sort of iconic for that movie.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
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 I would like to buy the hamburger.
Hamburger.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
Hey, you know good and well they cracked up filming.
Maybe we should stop.
We don't quit. We do not quit. Again.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
I would like to buy the burger.
I would like to buy a hamburger.
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 They're being silly now. They're just being silly. All right, so the question is, on National Hamburger Day, what ingredients are on the perfect hamburger? Let me try this again. Hold on. Beaver, come in, Beaver.
Hey, Matt Wyatt.
What ingredients, in your opinion, Beaver, are on the perfect hamburger?
Okay. I want a little mayonnaise on the bottom bun. Very specifically, bottom bun.
All right.
Then you have your patty. And then you have, I want cheese. Okay, I'm going to go cheeseburger. On top of the patty, I want the ketchup.
Okay.
No. On top of the patty, I want lettuce. Then give me the ketchup on top.
The end?
The end.
Wow.
I mean,
Super specific.
I'll take some pickles as well, but it's not necessary. Just give me those basics. The mayo, the ketchup, the lettuce.
So I'm thinking there's a little give and take there with the order of the lettuce and the ketchup. If you went ketchup on top of the patty, then lettuce, then
throw it away.
You don't want that, huh?
No, don't.
Really? It makes that big of a difference?
No, not really. But I do have a specific order. I'll take it that way.
Okay.
But, you know,
what
I want it on top.
What I was going to say is then the ketchup sort of is able to permeate the meat. But then the lettuce is going to slide around on the ketchup. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you went lettuce first, then ketchup on top of the lettuce, which means the ketchup is then going to permeate the top bun. However, that bun is then going to slide around on that piece of lettuce. Could I make a suggestion and just see what you think?
Yeah.
What if, stay with me here, stay with me. What if the lettuce, instead of on top of the patty, was underneath the patty, between the patty and the cheese?
Between the patty and the cheese?
So then on top of the patty, you've got ketchup, and it's permeating both patty and bun.
But you got the cool lettuce. So if it's on top of the cool lettuce, it's not going to melt properly.
Oh, the cheese.
I want it melty.
Well, I think you've said it. I think you said a mouthful. I know there's a pun there. Beav, I got to say, I'm surprised that you didn't say bacon.
Well, okay. Well, yeah, I'll always take bacon cheeseburger, but if we're just talking like a basic burger.
Yeah.
Just basic style.
All right.
Like bacon cheeseburger, that's an upcharge.
All right, stay with me here. Here's my opinion. In my opinion, Beaver, in my lone opinion, the perfect hamburger has both ketchup and mustard, has tomato, has lettuce, has cheese, has bacon, and stay with me, in some form or fashion, the perfect hamburger also has avocado. And as far as the order, I don't really know. I couldn't be that specific. Put all that on there. Put all of that on there in some shape, form, or fashion. And I think I've got the perfect hamburger. Jared texted the show. And he said there is a thick hand-pressed patty. Like everything on it. Bottom bun, ketchup burger, cheese on top of the burger, mustard, pickles, onions. I left pickles off. I forgot the pickles. Pickles, onions, tomato, lettuce, thin mayo on top of the bun on a smash burger. He said, I like bacon, jam, and pimento cheese. And let me just say, too, okay, since we're on the food topic, my daughter just walked in here and handed me the biggest, best looking peanut butter cookie I have ever seen. It is from Crumble Cookie. It is the size of my hand. Beaver, what is that nickname you gave me one time?
Banana hands?
Yes. Okay, Beaver, this thing is the size of my hand. It's the biggest, best looking peanut butter cookie I've ever seen. It's a big peanut butter cookie, humongous. It's got some peanut butter icing on the top. The teeny tiny, little bitty, teeny tiny chocolate chips that are the shape of like the little teeny tiny Hershey's Kisses, and then some regular peanut butter chips on top of that. If you don't think that just made my day, you're not thinking.
Well, it better be a good cookie because Crumble is criminally overpriced. That's a $5 cookie in your hand, Matt Wyatt.
Well, hey, I will find out later if it's worth it. Yeah, I'll tell you this. It sure looks worth it. Just on appearance. Beaver, I'm going to send you a picture of it, and you can judge for yourself. My sweet daughter, man, she really is a sweetie pie. Real C texted the show and says, hear me out for a second. The double grilled cheese bacon burger is amazing. 2 grilled cheese sandwiches for buns. Double smashed patties with cheese and thick sliced bacon. He then added, it's a cardiologist's dream burger. Hey, do any of y'all remember it used to be a staple in Starkville long ago, for a long time. It's no longer there, but a place called Christie's in Starkville. Do y'all remember Christie's? It used to be on Highway 12, kind of west of town on Highway 12. You cross the railroad track, and it was like just before you got over to the Motor Guide trolling motor plant. When Motor Guide was over there, it was like across the street, kind of catty corner from where Motor Guide was. Christie's Hamburgers. Any of y'all ever go there? Beeve, hear me out. When I was like a freshman in college, my roommate was Paul Mooney. He was an offensive lineman. And one day Paul came in and he goes, hey, come on. We got somewhere to go. I was like, what? He's like, there's this place. These guys told me about it. We got to go get a hamburger down there. So then the whole way out there to Christie's Hamburger, Paul was describing it to me. He says, they told me like it's the biggest, greasiest hamburger you'll ever eat, but it's the best. And he said they also give you way more fries than you can eat. I'm thinking, okay, whatever. Buddy, we got there, and my first Christie's burger, it was the largest, just in terms of like total diameter. The largest size bun and patty with all this stuff on it. It was huge. Just way more than any one person ought to eat. And then they gave you a bag of French fries with it. I'm talking about grease coming all through that bag on all sides. I looked at it, even then with that appetite, I thought, there's no way I can eat all that. Needless to say, Paul had no trouble. It was really good, but it was one of those, just for health reasons, it needed to be about a once a month deal for us. Man, it was good. I could go for one right now, though. It's been a while. A little bit of time left. We'll wrap it up when we come back on the other side of the break. In the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Stick around.
At Davini, we are your hometown.
Y'all heard me talk about Murray West and MurrayWest.com. They made the hat that I'm wearing. Got the Natchez Trace logo on it. I've told you a little bit about what they are. Contract embroidery company here in Mississippi. Started back in 1996, family owned. They do a phenomenal job, and I got to go visit their place up in New Albany. Let me show you a little bit about it. I say they do quality stuff. They really do. And so custom apparel, team stuff. I mean, really and truly, just about every high school in the state is sending their embroidered, team gear, jackets, shirts, hats, stuff. Baseball teams, football teams, they're sending it to the folks at Murray West in New Albany. You go to their website, murraywest.com, you go to the bottom, you can kind of see some of the Prairie Wildlife, Ole Miss Athletics, Gentile, others that they work with. Can't recommend them enough. If you need your logo printed, embroidered, sewn on to anything, custom apparel and other stuff, make sure you go there. Murray West, you can find them online, murraywest.com. That's MURRY West.com.
I'm Eddie Holcomb with Washington County Farm Bureau Insurance.
I'm Scott Rainwater with Farm Bureau Insurance here in Washington County.
I'm Blake Policini with Washington County Farm Bureau.
I'm Brian Street with Farm Bureau Insurance in Washington County, and we are your home team.
I think you know what time it is. It's time to eat. Country pleasing, jalapeno and cheddar, green onion. And no, it's not a grill, see that? But the fire is just about burnt down enough where it's time to put some of this on there. And the only decision when it comes to country pleasing sausage is which flavor, jalapeno and cheddar or maybe green onion. Both. Break me off a piece of that. Look at that. You know what that is? That's real green onion. Like that monkey who set his tail on a railroad track. It won't be long now. Country Pleasing sausage, these flavors and many, many others. Get them online at countrypleasing.com. At a grocery store near you, pretty much anywhere in the Southeast. Walk up in there and say, Country Pleasing, please. They'll know what you're talking about.
I was born and raised in Greenville. I've always called Greenville home. This is where I, was raised, went to high school, graduated high school, worked all my life here, leading up to going to college. So even when I moved from Greenville, I always told people, they asked me where you're from, I always said I'm from Greenville. I have mother, father, brother, niece, aunt, all live here in Greenville. So this is home. This is where I, live, and I've just always called it home. Small town, I feel like I could walk in any place tomorrow and know 2 to 3 people in there. It's small town. Someone's on the side of the road broken down. Hey, you need a boost, flat tire, you need help changing it. That's just kind of, what I love about this area. The blues and the food and everything that comes along with the Mississippi Delta that I love. I tell people all the time, my business cards have my cell phone number on them.
Right now on the Zone 105.9 and worldwide at thezone1059.com.
Back with you. Yeah, Sven, maybe it is. He said on YouTube it's called National Hamburg Day. And he says, and you know all about Hamburg, Germany, Mr. Wyatt. Yeah, well, that's it. I did live there for a little while, and I learned a little bit. I wish I had more time there. It's such a huge place, but just an awesome place in many, many ways. But it is in fact Hamburger Day. Perfect hamburger. Beaver was very specific about the order of mayonnaise and cheese and lettuce and ketchup. And I respected a very simple approach to the perfect hamburger. What I didn't ask anybody is that perfect hamburger, is it medium? Is it medium well? Is it well? Is it medium rare? What's the perfect hamburger? How do you cook it? Paul texted in and he said that my suggestion that avocado would be on my perfect hamburger made him throw up. And he said avocado belongs on nothing.
2 heroes on the text line.
Okay.
Paul, that wording, I just threw up in my mouth. Avocado belongs on nothing. Yes, 100% agree. Get avocado out of my face. The other hero, let's journey back. Real C with the grilled cheese as buns.
Yes. Beaver, what do you think about that?
That's awesome because they used to have one of those. I hadn't been there a really long time, but they used to have that at Alumni House.
Okay.
And it was really good. It was really good. I think they have one of those at Mugshots. But yeah, that's a whole nother level. Because it seems when you first look at it, it sounds so ridiculous.
Uh-huh.
But
Right.
it's a grilled cheese, man. Grilled cheeses are delicious. A hamburger's delicious.
Yeah.
It goes well. It sounds like a monstrosity, but it's awesome.
Well, okay, but if you really do break it down, I can go with it. I would absolutely like to try it. And you think about this, Beaver. Think about, some places where you've gotten a hamburger and the bun is really thick. Like it's a lot of bread. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Some places you get that, and some types of, it's really thick, a lot of bread. And a typical grilled cheese, if you add it up, a couple of slices of bread and it's all mashed down flat anyway, it's actually not any more total volume of bread than some of these big thick buns that you're getting. It's not like you're overdoing it on bread, I guess is what I'm saying, even though it's a sandwich on one side and a sandwich on the other. And then you're just talking about more cheese. It's like putting extra cheese on a regular hamburger. That's what I think. I think it's a great idea too. You've never had it, Beaver? You never tried it yourself?
What's that?
This thing that you said somebody carried or offered a grilled cheese hamburger as the bun. You hadn't tried it yet?
Oh, I tried it multiple times.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, check this out, Beaver. So Bulldog Burger has one on the menu I've gotten before called a Good Morning Burger. And it is lots of different things, lots of different goodies, hamburger, you get it, bacon, with a fried egg on there. Hence the Good Morning name, I guess. What do you think about that?
Yes.
Okay.
No hesitation, yes. It's to be very specific, it needs to be a fried egg, but the yolk, crack that yolk. I don't want it running all over the burger.
Okay.
But if the egg's on there, yes. Put it with the previously mentioned bacon and cheese.
Okay. You know what
Add
else?
that in there.
You know what else I've gotten that Good Morning Burger with and gotten it added to it? Some nice, fresh avocado, sir. Yes, sir.
How would you feel about... Can I interest you in replacing the avocado with maybe some chili? A nice chili cheeseburger.
Oh, bring that on. Put it on there, Beaver. You just sold me. You're getting a nice tip. Hey, you know what I did one time at the Bulldog Burger in Starkville? During a post-game of a football broadcast. We were doing post-game show there at Bulldog Burger. I got the Good Morning Burger with all that stuff on it, including the fried egg, and Beaver, instead of the beef patty, I substituted fried chicken. Because it was like, about 9 o'clock at night. So it's basically that Good Morning Burger with all that stuff on it. Tomato, little mayonnaise here, some bacon, cheese, fried egg, and a great big piece of chicken. Now look, you wouldn't think it. It's real good. Really good.
So it was, you're not talking, you replaced the beef with chicken.
Yes.
You had both.
No, I did replace it. Yeah, there's no.
I thought you were telling me you put chicken on top of the burger.
That might be something too, but I don't think my mouth's big enough. But yeah, it was a substitute, a big fried chicken patty for the beef. Yeah. It was quite good. I'm trying to think, is there anything else I've gotten out there on National Hamburger Day that is worth noting on a hamburger? I don't know. I'm going to go back over with a few minutes left here to the country pleasing text line. Jason in Flagstaff says, used to be a restaurant and truck stop at 371 and 78 in Moorville called Trailblazers years ago and had those plate-sized hamburgers. Jason, I have been there. I don't think it's there anymore, but I know exactly where you're talking about. And again, 20 years ago, I ate in there several times. That place, you know, it's like it was a hole-in-the-wall truck stop. They had great barbecue and great hamburgers. Yes, sir. Been there. Know exactly what you're talking about. And you're right. It's bigger. I'd get a hamburger there, eat half of it, and take the rest of it home and eat the rest of it, you know, the next day because it was that big. MSU 1980 says, Matt, I eat my steaks medium rare. Yeah, me too. I'm a medium rare guy. But I've always read that ground beef needs to be cooked more, so I take mine medium. Okay. Sounds good to me. Who gave him this name? Beaver, I think this is a first on my show. This person is obviously texting a lot during Jake's show. I think this is the first time he's ever texted my show, as far as I know. And the name is Most Superior Unnamed Texter. Good afternoon, Matt. Good afternoon, Beef. And then said, Crystals has a hangover crystal with a fried egg on it. Why? Because it hangs over the edge? Jared says, I don't like chili cheeseburgers. So go ahead and load up the chili. Give me a fork for a floating cheeseburger. Shout out Pea Soups in Indianola. What? You have to eat it with a fork, so it's called a floating cheeseburger. What? What are we talking about here? Is it come in a bowl? Scott from Philly. Happy National Hamburger Day to you. Says this is Scott from Philadelphia. Blue Canoe in Tupelo has an awesome burger with a fried egg on it. And Miko says there used to be a place called 51 Pit Stop and Crystal Springs on Highway 51. The burgers, he said, were fantabulous and they were as big as your head. Bigger the better, huh? I hear you, man. Happy National Hamburger Day. Why do we like hamburgers so much? I mean, really, like if you were to go around the world and you were to say to people, hey, I'm talking about in other countries, hey, describe the most American food, they would say hamburger. What is that? Hey, Beaver. So Annabeth walked in here. There's another cookie in this crumble cookie box. It is blueberry cheesecake. What's that? Cinnamon cake. Is that a cookie? What is that? So you got to eat it with a fork. What's that? She's already eaten that one. Animal cracker sugar cookie. But a blueberry cheesecake cookie. Let me tell you something. That peanut butter cookie is really good, but it's so huge you can't possibly eat all of it. Well, it goes great with National Hamburger Day. Enjoyed that. All right. That'll wrap it up for today. We'll do it again mañana. Same place, same time here in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. For Beaver, I'm Matt. We'll see you then. See ya.